This is going to be a 2 or 3 part in a series. I'm going to talk about the domino effect. What is it like to go home and realize that you have been injured by your doctor? And I can only speak from my experience, and others have their own situations. Some of these people didn't get to go home. I'm going to touch on what I went through, which I think is also going to touch on what a lot of others go through. So number one, I'd say was shock. After I left the doctor's office, I sat out in my car in shock, shaking all over, crying, and I think 2 was setting in. I was in denial. So I was in shock and denial because I was thinking that I just wasn't understanding what needed to happen for me to get better from my elbow being broken. I thought that it was me. I would think that if we're going to break this down into stages, and we'll see if I can even break it down into stages, but I would say that would be 1 and 2, shock and denial. And close on its heel, and maybe all mixed in with it, would have been trauma. I was traumatized by what had happened. And that trauma really began to settle in over the course of the next week. So I go home and I'm in denial, but almost that day I started having backflashes, reliving it. But it wasn't truly until maybe in the evening of that first day, or even into the morning of the next day, that I realized that I finally accepted that what this doctor did should not have happened. That what he did hurt me and was abusive. And then I went into a panic. I went into a panic for several reasons. One was because I thought, I have to stop this. I have to let them know. I don't want, I have to let OhioHealth know that the surgeon is abusive. I have to, I was picturing him working on elderly people or children, other people, and hurting them. And I really wanted to stop that. And I was in more pain and more swelling and new situations happening throughout my body. It took like 2 or 3 weeks for the damages to really start taking hold of me. But they had already begun. And so I was in a bit of a panic, but I was also really sickened at heart. I felt depressed and full of anxiety. And I practiced for a solid week making the call to the office to tell them what had happened, but I couldn't get the words out without breaking down. I couldn't say it, that my doctor hurt me. Couldn't say those words. I'm really surprised right now, but that's still in me. It still kind of got me there. And this is over 4 years later, but I couldn't say those words. So it was a solid week before I was able to make that call. I don't want to go any farther here. We'll continue this in the next video. But I want to give acknowledgement to people who find themselves in this situation. There's nothing wrong with you. This is our normal reaction to the trauma of not being able to talk about it, or absorbing it in some way that we're in denial or shock. I think that that's probably the normal. It's a lot to accept and to live through. So let me stop there. But dear OhioHealth, pay attention, because I'm gonna talk more about what happens when, after all of this, trauma that we go through, and then to have to face brick wall systems that won't help. It really exacerbates the issues. Liz Florentino, survivor on a mission.